Brought to you by
Coca-Cola. Available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga Distributors. Accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola. Brand Source Home Gallery. Inspiring luxury. And JN Money.
From abroad to yard.
Fast, affordable, convenient. Doctor's Hospital. Peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctor's Hospital. Always there for you. Call 949-6066. And by the STEPS 2023 National Health Survey. Visit gov.ky/steps to learn more. And Cayman Airways. Call them on 949-2311 to book your nonstop flights to Los Angeles and Panama. And now, Barbados. And Digicel, Cayman's bigger, better network.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Coming to you live from Radio Cayman Studio.
For the Record.
For the Record. For the Record. Hear from your government officials, independents, and the opposition on issues that matter to you. For the Record. Engage in an open dialogue between residents and lawmakers.
For the Record.
For the Record. For the Record. Informative, impartial, insightful.
This is your talk show.
1-800-534-8255. Your calls, your input. This is For the Record. And now, your host, Orrett Connor.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, O land of soft, fresh breezes and verdant trees, so fair. Today is Wednesday, the 20th day of September 2023, right here in the beautiful Cayman Islands. We hope and we trust that everyone had a restful, peaceful, enjoyable evening. Those of you who are on the roads of the Cayman Islands, whether you're a pedestrian, a cyclist, or if you're operating any type of motorized vehicle, we urge you to please be extremely cautious. Ensure that you observe the rules of the road. Bear in mind that you are not the only person on our roads. So, you have to protect yourself, you have to protect other road users, you have to be aware of the fact that there are other road users on the road as well. Also remember, our future, our young ones, they are on our roads, heading to school. They're either walking, riding a bicycle, or in a vehicle with a parent or a guardian, or maybe in a school bus as well. Please ensure that you protect them as well. And remember, by so doing, the life you save may just be your own. For those of you who are celebrating a birthday today, or if you celebrated one over the past few days, we want to wish you a happy birthday or a belated happy birthday as well. And to remind you that the For the Record birthday shout-outs are brought to you by Pizza Boat. Pizza Boat now open in Queens Court on West Bay Road. So, folks, hop on board the Pizza Boat Express. Pizza Boat, they make pizza even more fun. You can pick your pizza up or have it delivered. Simply call 949-0000, or you can order online via www.pizzaboat.ky. For those of you who have lost loved ones, again, we want to express our sincere condolences to you. We hope and we trust that your faith will help to carry you through these extremely challenging times, and that the memories of your loved ones will be a blessing. Those of you who are ill and are either at home or at a medical facility here in the Cayman Islands or overseas, we wish you a speedy recovery. And again, we want to send out special speedy recovery greetings to Miss Charlene Parrott as well. So, folks, I want to thank you for allowing Radio Cayman and, by extension, For the Record, into your homes, into your vehicles as you traverse the busy roads of the Cayman Islands, into your places of work, wherever that may be. As you know, For the Record is a show produced by the staff and management of Radio Cayman, and it is geared towards keeping you abreast of issues as they arise and play out on the local, regional, and international scene. I am your host, Orrett Connor, and you're welcome to join me every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 7:30 a.m. until 10 a.m. During that period, our phone lines are open, and you're welcome to call into the show. Of course, waiting to take your calls, none other than that beautiful radio voice of Miss Susan Watson. You can call us on our toll-free number provided courtesy of Flo. That toll-free number, 1-800-534-8255. You can also call us on 949-8037 and 949-6990. Email us at fortherecord, one word, fortherecord at candw.ky. WhatsApp us 925-3261, where you can send us a text message or leave us a voice note. Not sure if the phone portion of that is working as well. But you can try all of those numbers that we have given out as well. And don't forget, if you want to follow us on YouTube, you do that simply by subscribing to Radio Cayman live stream. Don't forget, we're also on Facebook as well. So let's look at our birthday shout-outs, and remember that For the Record birthday shout-outs are proudly brought to you by Pizza Boat. They are now open in Queens Court on West Bay Road. We urge you to hop on board the Pizza Boat Express. Why? Because Pizza Boat makes pizza even more fun. You can have your pizza delivered, or you can pick it up. You simply call 949-0000, or you can order online via www.pizzaboat.ky. So we have some happy birthday greetings. First of all, we want to say happy birthday to Miss Leela Rosalind Ebanks of West Bay. She celebrates her 91st birthday today, and birthday greetings are coming from her entire family. So Miss Leela Rosalind Ebanks, happy birthday, happy 91st birthday to you today as well. Let's look at some other birthdays. Those are the upcoming ones. We'll give them to you afterwards. Let's see. Today, Phil Scott, he's celebrating his birthday today as well. And the upcoming birthdays tomorrow, Miss Aldine Evans, she is celebrating her birthday, September 21st. Miss Iselin Dilbert also celebrating her birthday tomorrow. Sandra Castillo also celebrating her birthday tomorrow. And Myron Bruce celebrating his birthday tomorrow as well. And don't forget that the For the Record birthday shout-outs are brought to you by Pizza Boat. They are now open in Queens Court on West Bay Road. We urge you to hop on board the Pizza Boat Express, and you should do so simply because they make pizza even more fun. You can also pick up your pizza or have it delivered. Simply call 949-0000 or order online via www.pizzaboat.ky. I see here someone is typing in a message. It is probably a birthday request. As soon as they finish typing and it comes through, I will share that with you. Here we go. So we have Onisha Richards. She's celebrating her birthday today, and happy birthday greetings are coming from the Fantastic Four. The Fantastic Four. So I guess the Fantastic Four, they know who they are, and Miss Onisha Richards would know who the Fantastic Four is as well. And or Fantastic 4R is, got to get that right. And but again, we want to say happy birthday today to Miss Onisha Richards. We also have here we go. Oh yeah, this one. Happy birthday today to Miss Denzi Carter from her loving husband Bill, daughters Nicole and Melanie, and the rest of her family as well. So Mrs. Denzi Carter, she is celebrating her birthday today. I know she was with the Royal Cayman Islands Police Service. Not sure if she has retired or if she's still an acting member of the Royal Cayman Islands Police Service. But whatever way, we want to also say to her, thank you for your service, to your dedicated service to the Cayman Islands. Ms. Denzi Carter celebrating her birthday today, and birthday greetings are coming from her husband Bill, daughters Nicole and Melanie, and the rest of the family. And I'm reliably advised that Mrs. Denzi Carter is now retired, and she was the first female inspector in the Royal Cayman Islands Police Service as well. So we want to congratulate her for that also. Okay, I want to share a story with you from the Tradewinds newspaper. We're going to take the commercial break, and when we return, I'm going to share that with you. And it has to do with a very popular man in the Cayman Islands, a fisherman in the Cayman Islands, and there was a story that was written about him, and I want to share that with you. So we're going to take a commercial break. Please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
The Cayman Islands boasts of a long, colorful, and rich history. In tribute to our roots, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Historical Vignette Series, brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects. The Cayman Islands, He hath founded it upon the seas.
John Theophilus Bodden, 1883 to 1969. Certificate of Honor.
Theophilus Bodden served the District of East End with distinction for many years. Several times he was elected as a vestryman. He was an ordained elder of the East End Adventist Church, which he served for 53 years. He was married to Claudina Nee Jackson, with whom he had 4 children. He was a seaman and later a farmer and fisherman. While sailing on the United States ships, he was shipwrecked twice. The first time, the men were with the ship for 16 days before being rescued. The second time, they were adrift in a life raft for 12 days. Mr. Bodden touched the lives of many people in the Cayman Islands.
Radio Cayman's Historical Vignettes was brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects.
Since 1993, Rotary Central has worked diligently each year to provide quality bus shelters to our community. A traveling convenience to our school children, the elderly, young people going to work, guest workers, and visitors using the public bus. We, Rotary Central, help you, our advertisers, make it happen. Your marketing dollar travels a far way. Positioning your message, your product, your services, your presence in over 83 bus shelters. Every dollar you spend, every advert you place helps to build another bus shelter, providing modest comfort for Cayman travelers. Reserve space now on the only billboard medium in the Cayman Islands. Email rotaryshelters@gmail.com. rotaryshelters@gmail.com. The Bus Shelters, a partner in community convenience. Another inspiration program by Rotary Central Cayman Islands.
All aboard the Pizza Boat! Cayman's newest pizzeria. Birthday parties, office luncheons, summer camps, game night. Whatever your occasion, bring the fun with Pizza Boat. A Cayman twist to pizza. Bringing fusion ingredients from all over the globe to give you locally inspired fresh pizzas all day, every day. What's more, now you can enjoy a boat-shaped pizza with toppings of your choice. It's Pizza Boat. Pizza Boat, now open in Queens Court on West Bay Road. Pick up or delivery 949-0000 or order online www.pizzaboat.ky. Pizza Boat. Experience the ultimate pizza voyage.
Upgrade your connection with Digicell's all-new postpaid plans. Experience the freedom of endless local calls, more any-use data to browse, entertainment data for Netflix, Spotify, YouTube, and TikTok, and endless social data for WhatsApp, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. That's not all. Stay connected when you travel with roaming data for the USA, Canada, and the Caribbean, and make calls while abroad with more international minutes than ever before. Stay connected on the fastest, most reliable network. Make the switch today. Digicell, better connected.
Since March 2004, West Bay Pharmacy has kept their doors open to the local communities, even before, during, and after Hurricane Ivan. At West Bay Pharmacy, our staff provides so much more than pharmaceutical excellence. From the moment you walk through our doors to completing your cash out, our staff will have put your healthcare concerns at ease. We would like to take this moment to thank our loyal friends and customers. To us at West Bay Pharmacy, our patients are our primary concern. We provide thorough background checks and precise calculations to ensure your medical safety. Thank you for being a part of our family and for choosing West Bay Pharmacy, where we care about your health.
She hear clunk and her car stop. I was just about to send her some money, so I send it straight to her JN money transfer card. It cost me less, and perhaps she use the card pay the garage right away. She'll get discount through the JN Rewards program in Jamaica. This card make things easy. You can even get funds at any multi-link ATM.
JN Money Transfer Card. Fast, affordable, convenient. Tell your loved ones in Jamaica about it. Sign up is free.
Your dream home starts with a vision, and often inspiration is at the heart of that vision. Brand Source Home Gallery's in-house designers are here to help bring your vision to life. Whether you're remodeling or building a new home, Brand Source Home Gallery is your one-stop solution. Explore their kitchen cabinets, sinks, faucets, bath fixtures, tubs, vanities, and more. Let Brand Source's designers help and inspire you with your next project. Call 623-5000 and schedule an appointment with a design expert at Brand Source Home Gallery, Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park, serving Cayman for 50 years.
System 1 loaded.
1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the Record.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. No guests in the studio. After the 8 o'clock news, we're going to open up the phone lines as well. And we're hoping to connect one way or the other with Dr. Steve Macfield as well via the telephone to have a discussion with him. Meanwhile, continuing on the birthday shout-outs, we also have happy birthday greetings, going out to Mr. Roland Gerzang, coming from his loving family as well. Mr. Roland Gerzang, in his earlier days, he was a pressman with the Trade Winds newspaper that you always hear me talking about. And in the 1960s, when a delegation went from the Cayman Islands to Jamaica when the Queen was visiting, he was a member of that delegation as well. So, Mr. Roland Gerzang, happy birthday to you. Also, coming from Miss Suzanne Bothwell and her family, belated happy birthday greetings going out to Miss Lucille Seymour. And of course, you know, Miss Lucille celebrated her birthday on Saturday, the 16th day of September, last week Saturday as well. So, folks, I'm going to share this Trade Winds newspaper article with you. There's one of our listeners who I know who is very closely related to this gentleman. And maybe after the 8 o'clock news, if he's listening, he may want to, to call in and express some sentiments about this gentleman as well. So this article was written on September the 22nd, 1966, which means in 2 days' time, that would have been, 57 years ago. 57 years ago, folks. And this article, and it was a profile of Sam Ebanks, and I'm going to try to read it verbatim for you, and I have to do it in 7 minutes. It says that probably one of the first men you'd get to know in Grand Cayman if you were a tourist is Samuel Fletcher Ebanks, better known as Sam the Fisherman. He's already well known to residents here, having lived in the islands for most of his life, and that takes in quite a few years, says Sam, who at that time in 1966 was 54 years old. Sam gained his reputation as a fisherman in a comparatively short time. In 1956, he built a boat from the ground up, he's quoted as saying, and moved right in with the rest of the Cayman charter fishing fleet. He's quoted as saying that boat was a file-bottom skiff. Now, I'm sure that there are not many young Caymanians, or if I can use this term, modern-day Caymanians, who know what a file-bottom skiff is. But if you do, please let us know. Explain to us what a file-bottom skiff is. He says, and I named her XIOU8. X10-U8, I believe it is. She was 16 feet long by 4 feet wide. X10U8 was a familiar sight in Georgetown Harbor for the next 8 years. Sam says he couldn't begin to calculate how many struggling fish he reeled in over the side, or how many visitors to Cayman he's taught to fish Cayman style. Sam eventually sold his first boat and worked for charter on another man's boat for 2 years, doing the job he'd come to know so well. He's quoted as saying, I kept saving my money. Sometimes I'd make £5 and I'd put away 4 just saving up for another boat of my own. Sam won't take all of the credit for the purchase of the up-to-date equipment he now uses. However, I mentioned my needs to Rex Crichton, he's in the real estate business here, and to Dr. Eugene Gerbergen of Baltimore, Maryland, and they helped me to get along. I owed a lot to those two, says Sam. One day earlier this year, Sam clamped his new 9 horsepower overboard engine on the catboat he'd helped to build, and Sam the Fisherman was in the business for himself again. The tall, weather-worn fisherman lives in Georgetown with his wife, Evelyn Maud. Sam wouldn't dare tell his wife's age, but he admitted that she's younger than me anyhow. The Ebankses have 2 sons, Fletcher, 26, who is a local plumber, and Samuel, 24, follows the sea as his father once did. Sam attended school in the island, but he doesn't consider his education complete, nor will he ever. He has taken numerous correspondence courses, he says, and is at present studying agriculture as a hobby. He's quoted as saying, I love to watch things grow. Charter fishing hasn't always been Sam's job, and he has many an exciting tale of deep-sea adventure if you'll take the time to listen. He started sailing at 16 on the Cayman Turtle schooners in keeping with the tradition of Cayman Islanders. I ended up on steamers, but there's nothing more pleasant than full sail on a moonlight night, reminisces Sam. If it wasn't always, he says, sorry, it wasn't always easy, he continues. Why? I remember one time we were shipwrecked 3 days out of Borneo. The ship ran aground on a reef about 3 o'clock in the morning. There was a 40-foot gash in the steamer's steel hull, but all aboard were saved, and Sam, a true son, kept right on shipping out. Sam remembers another time in 1936 when the schooner Merriwell lost her sails and went adrift off Southwest Point. The boat drifted for 2 days before a steamer happened to tow the schooner to safe harbor. Having sailed into practically every principal seaport in the world, Sam describes such faraway places as Singapore, Hong Kong, Melbourne, San Francisco, and London with a wishful sigh. Yep, I sailed all over the world, but I come back after 10 years. This is my home, you know. The seaman's return to Grand Cayman wasn't exactly voluntary. However, you see, says Sam, I overstayed my leave in the United States, so they sent me back home. I've been visiting in the States since, but I like it better here. No better place than home. Sam is an early riser. He sometimes can be seen powering away from Georgetown Dock long before sunrise, bound for the nearby, gotta find that, reefs where the fish that earned Sam his title abound. It is seldom that he returns without a full catch. Who's that out there? A newcomer to the island might ask a passerby, pointing to the solitary figure in the long catboat silhouette against the setting sun. Why, that's Sam the fisherman. He's still out there fishing, would be the usual answer. So that was a tribute to Sam, Mr. Sam Ebanks, Sam the fisherman. September the 22nd, 1966, Trade Winds newspaper. Some of you may know the nickname. Also, we used to call him Sam Pak Pak. I don't know if the Pak Pak was because of the engine on the boat or what, but we used to call him Sam Pak Pak as well. Folks, top of the hour, 8 o'clock news. Please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back immediately after the 8 o'clock news.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. And studio time now by Foster's is 8 o'clock.
Honey, look what I found.
What did you get?
Foster's Finds.
Foster's found what?
No, Foster's Finds. Wild brine kimchi, plant-based deli sauces, ancient nutrition collagen protein, and look, they gave me a free reusable bag just for buying Good Pop ice cream.
I hadn't heard of these products before.
That's because Foster's Camana Bay gets a bunch of new specialty items each month for Foster's Finds.
These look amazing, but you do know that's not a shoulder bag, right?
I like the way it brings out my eyes.
Foster's, better selection because we care.
From district to district, moving through the waters to Cayman Brac and Little Cayman. Your station, your voice. All things Cayman. One radio, many people. This is home.
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands. The 8 a.m. news is brought to you by ValueMed Pharmacy. Save time and order your prescription refills online at value-medpharmacy.com. VALU-medpharmacy.com.
For today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Island.
With your latest news, I'm Carsley Fuller. Georgetown MP Joey Hew asked Lands Minister the Honorable Juliana O'Connor Connolly for an update on the beach renourishment project.
The responsibility for the 7 Mile Beach Renourishment Project was transferred to the Ministry of District Administration and Lands. However, the accompanying budget has not yet been transferred along with this project. Since the transfer of the project to the Ministry of District Administration and Lands has facilitated the technical working group's completion of its initial work, and the initial strategic outline case has now been prepared.
She told MPs due to the estimated size of the project, the necessary business case work, the 3-stage business cases, is in process, and provided funding is approved in the 2024-25 budget, quote, the project will progress accordingly. Mr. Hugh also asked on the status of the planned beach erosion committee and a potential new coastal works policy.
Visited the sites as late as yesterday, and I'm afraid that without any assistance, without any direction, without any policy, if we have a storm pass within a couple hundred miles of us, some of these properties will end up in the water.
I have to give an undertaking to get this information. As the substantive answer indicated, it was not originally with our ministry. It's been transferred responsibility. There's still some other transmissions, including knowledge, to occur.
The beach renourishment project was announced back in December 2021, along with a budget allocation of $21 million. Lawmakers are heading back to Parliament today after an early afternoon on Tuesday.
We have gotten through 3 of the 4 bills. The further bill would be the Proceeds of Crime Amendment Bill, which has some very technical aspects, and the desire would be to have the bill presented by the Honourable Attorney General. So at this point, Madam Speaker, I would move the adjournment of this Honourable House.
The move by Premier the Honourable Wayne Panton was questioned by West Bay MP and former Speaker of the House, the Honourable Makiba Bush.
I don't want to be disagreeing with the Premier, but Friday you have Finance Committee. We have at least, 5, 6, maybe more private members' motions? 9. Don't think now that we can get through all that on Thursday. I don't believe so.
Mr. Panton conceded that Thursday will be a long day as MPs consider private members' motions, expecting a, quote, extended period of time working into the evening. Same deal with Friday with the sitting of Finance Committee. The Speaker then put it to a vote.
The question is that this House do now adjourn until 10 a.m. tomorrow morning. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against, no.
No.
I have 10 ayes, 6 noes, and 2 absentees. The ayes have it.
Tuesday saw the tabling of annual reports for several government entities. In addition, the first and second readings of 3 bills, Public Lands Amendment and Validation Bill, the Plant Protection Bill, and the Terminal Charges Validation Bill were completed. Make sure to tune into our sister station, Breeze 105.3 FM, to hear today's proceedings live, starting at 10 a.m. And Cabinet has published the summary from its September 12th meeting. Turning first to money matters, Cabinet approved a reduction in funding for the design and construction of a new civic center northward by $1.325 million, shifting it to other budgets. $400,000 for the government administration building, $520,000 for ramps and jetties, and $500,000 towards parks and upgrades. Delano Lazari was appointed as deputy chair of the Development Control Board, and Cabinet recommended the governor promote Captain Halston Farley to the rank of major within the Cadet Corps. Ministers then approved the donation of some decommissioned equipment to Honduras, and it was at this meeting that they formally approved the establishment of a Cayman Islands government office in Singapore, which Radio Cayman reported on Thursday. There was also a land issue or a tenant's request to purchase the freehold interest in a leased parcel of Crown land along Fort Street in central Georgetown was declined. The group then noted several 2022 annual reports, Sister Islands Affordable Housing Development, Civil Aviation Authority, Portfolio of Legal Affairs, Cayman Islands National Insurance Company, and the Cayman Islands Development Bank, as well as the 2021 annual report for the Ministry of Sustainability and Climate Resiliency. I'm Carsley Fuller.
The 8 a.m. news is brought to you by ValueMed Pharmacy. Save time and order your prescription refills online at value-medpharmacy.com. VALU-medpharmacy.com.
Now, more than ever, supporting your immune system is crucial to helping your body fight off illnesses like the common cold, the flu, and COVID-19. At ValueMed Pharmacy on Walkers Road and in Buttontown, we carry all the essential vitamins and minerals to help support your immune system and improve your overall health. Some of our top immunity support picks are vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc, elderberry, and quercetin are the popular 7-in-1 immunity support. Our pharmacists are always on hand to help guide you and answer any questions. Visit ValueMed Pharmacy on Walkers Road or Buddentown. Live happy, live healthy with ValueMed Pharmacy.
Stay in touch with Radio Cayman with the latest up-to-date, accurate news and information. For your convenience, the headline news will be repeated on our sister station, Breeze 105.3 FM, weekdays at 8:30 a.m. Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or download the Radio Cayman app in the App Store or log on to www.radiocayman.gov.ky and stay connected to what's happening in the community. Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
Each one of us is different, and so are our health needs. Health City's executive health checks are packaged for you as an individual, including optional add-ons tailored to your health journey. We have a variety of health checks to suit your age, gender, lifestyle, and family medical history. Visit healthcity.ky to find the health check package that suits you best and book your Health City health check today. At Health City, we know healthy looks different on everyone.
Are you repeatedly picked on by older kids, called unkind names, or beaten up at school?
Then you know that's bullying and it hurts.
So please, don't do it to others. Instead, let's be kind to one another.
And report incidences of bullying to a teacher or a trusted adult so that we all can feel safe at school.
The 8:12 a.m. weather report brought to you by CG Britcay, where people come first.
Pleasant good morning. Let's take a look at the latest weather report. Current temperature is 84 degrees. Relative humidity is 83%. The barometric pressure is 29.89 inches and rising. The wind is out of the northeast at 4 knots. Overnight low temperature was 83. Synopsis indicate light winds and seas due to a slack pressure gradient over the northwest Caribbean will continue across the Cayman area for the next few days, supporting localized showers. Radar images show isolated showers around the Cayman area moving towards the west-northwest. The National Hurricane Center is issuing advisories on Hurricane Nigel. This system poses no threat to the Cayman Islands. For more information, please visit www.nhc.noaa.gov. Now, the forecast for the Cayman Islands is calling for partly cloudy skies with a 40% chance of showers and thunder, and temperatures will rise to the low 90s. Winds will be easterly 5 to 10 knots, and seas will be slight with wave heights of 1 to 3 feet. Tonight, partly cloudy skies with a 30% chance of showers, and temperatures falling to the low 80s. Winds will be northeasterly at 5 to 10 knots, and seas will be slight with wave heights of 1 to 3 feet. Today's high tide will occur this afternoon at 1:17, low tide tonight at 7:35. The sun will set this evening at 6:22 and will rise tomorrow morning at 6:15. And the outlook is calling for similar weather conditions through Friday evening.
Take some advice from your Aunt Angie. If you're going to invest in an exotic pet, choose anything but a Norwegian forest cat. Apparently, they will eat all your jewelry. Before you know it, you're racing to the vet when your cat escapes from his carrier and lunges for your earrings. You crash and your cat swallows your pearls. But if you're smart, you'll have CG Motor Insurance and get the best comprehensive coverage for the price.
Get the best comprehensive coverage for the price. CG Britcay. Good like that. All benefits are subject to policy provisions, including eligibility at the time of service.
The 8:12 a.m. weather report brought to you by CG Britcay, where people come first.
During these unprecedented times, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Cayman Strong Series. The Cayman Strong Series is brought to you by OnCourse Cayman. Visit oncourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. OnCourse Cayman, health, wellness, and happiness.
Change your thinking. Change your life. Practicing forgiveness is a healthy habit.
As pastor and best-selling author Gary Chapman wrote in his book, The 5 Love Languages, How to Express Heartfelt Commitment to Your Mate, forgiveness is not a feeling, it is a commitment. It is a choice to show mercy, not to hold the offense up against the offender. Forgiveness is an expression of love.
Change your thinking. Change your life.
During these unprecedented times, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Cayman Strong Series. The Cayman Strong Series is brought to you by OnCourse Cayman. Visit oncourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. OnCourse Cayman, health, wellness, and happiness.
These days, feelings of loneliness, anxiety, stress, and depression can be overwhelming. Just know you are not alone. OnCourse Cayman offers private mental health services for children, teens, adults, and groups. Visit oncourse.ky to view a full list of wellness services and their qualified team. OnCourse Cayman, health, wellness, and happiness.
Water Authority Cayman would like to inform its valued customers that the public water service will be temporarily interrupted on a section of Marina Drive beyond the intersection of Marina Drive and Bamboo Street up to Harbour House Marina on Sunday the 24th of September between 1 a.m. and 6 a.m. These planned works are to facilitate pipeline improvement works in the area. The Water Authority apologizes for any inconvenience these works may cause and thanks the public for your patience and understanding. The authority will make every effort to complete these works and restore the water supply ahead of schedule in order to minimize the inconvenience.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Planning a meeting, event, or office celebration? Visit subway.ky to place your catering order today.
Top of the morning to you. Let's take a look at how your traffic is shaping up this morning. Traffic is heavy on the Linford-Pearson Highway. Slight delays expected. Steady traffic coming off of Bobby Thompson Way and Hull Avenue. As we look to Godfrey Nixon Way and Eastern Avenue flowing moderately, as well as coming from the Westway four-way stop. On the Westway Road in front of the Ritz, traffic is moderate in both directions. And traffic flowing light to moderate on Owen Roberts Drive. To the east on Shamrock Road and Rex Crichton Boulevard, flowing moderately. But further down, it's a different issue as traffic is steady. And coming off of Agnes Way as well, steady traffic. If you've seen accidents or incidents, give us a call here at Radio Cayman, 949-6990. That's the very latest on your traffic. Remember, click it or ticket. Join us again at about 10 minutes after 12 o'clock. We'll give you another traffic report.
It's game time, Subway fans. We're upping our sub game with the all-new Subway Series menu, an all-star lineup of 6 delicious recipes. Just order by name or number and we'll do the rest. Whether you're catching a quick lunch or just need a tasty victory, the Subway Series menu is coming in clutch. Subway Series, easy to order, hard to resist. Try it today, only at Subway. Eat fresh.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Planning a meeting, event, or office celebration? Visit subway.ky to place your catering order today.
A new Cayman comedy show, What Happening? With Michael McLaughlin, Matt Brown, Leroy Holness, and all your favorite actors. Every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, September 29th until October 15th. Proudly supported by the Cayman National Cultural Foundation. Tickets available at eventpro.ky and the CNCF office. You can't write this stuff.
Sometimes you just have to laugh. Yes, laugh it up.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. No guests in the studio. Later on in the show, we're going to be linking up by phone with Dr. Steve McFeel. Meanwhile, our phone lines are open. You can try our toll-free number provided courtesy of Flow. That toll-free number, 1-800-534-8255. You can also call us on 949-8037, 949-6990. Email us at fortherecord, one word, fortherecord at candw.ky. WhatsApp us, 925-3261. Before I go on to another topic, I just want to say one more thing about Mr. Sam Ebanks, known as Sam the Fisherman. Those days, in 1966, we didn't have in the Cayman Islands anything called a Coleman cooler, ice cooler, or anything like that, not even ice makers. Those who were fortunate enough to have refrigerators, of course, the hotels would have had either ice makers or refrigerators, but very few families in the Cayman Islands had their own refrigerators at that point in time. So Mr. Sam used to fish at night as well, and our local yellowtail, he would catch those. Now, if those of you who know anything about fishing, the local yellowtail, I'm not sure about the ocean yellowtail, but certainly the local yellowtail, if they're out of the water for too long, they are likely to what we call go bad on you or spoil. So Mr. Sam had something made out of the same material that you use for fish. Was used for fish pots, the fish pot wire we used to call it, and he had bamboo placed on the side of it so that pot was sitting in the water but floating, so he would keep it right alongside his boat, and whenever he caught the fish, he would then put it in that contained fish pot that was there being kept afloat by the bamboo. This way he kept his fish alive until he was coming. So you were assured of getting fresh fish, especially, if you went out, let's say 5, 6 o'clock in the evening and stayed out all night and then came in early in the morning, 6, 7 o'clock in the morning as well. So he was very innovative when he developed that as well, Okay. We have two things that are going to generate some discussion, or we hope will generate some discussion. If not, I'm sure that I can opine on it to a certain extent. And I'm going to share this first one with you. Person has written and said, I hear the minister speak of more pension changes to allow people to pull out their pension, pull out money from their pension funds. This is possibly the third round of changes to allow people to pull out assets that are to be used to look after them when they can no longer work. This, the writer says, is concerning. Has the government or insurance companies commissioned, or have the government or insurance companies commissioned and published any actuarial studies on the impact of such withdrawals on the long term for the account holders and the calculated liability to the country or impact on the country when these persons begin to retire and their pensions and other investments do not allow people to have sufficient living income on a day-to-day basis. The person goes on to say that we live in a country today which has no national security, social security, no sovereign fund, and we are already creaking under the pressure on national welfare contributions in a population of less than 100,000 persons. What is the data that the politicians are using to influence their policy decisions around these pension withdrawals, and when can it be published to allow for public scrutiny? For all valid concerns and pertinent and relevant questions being asked in that regard as well. And you would have heard me ask the minister whether or not input had been sought from the various pension fund administrators and stuff in relation to this as well. We know that the politicians, some of the politicians, are reacting simply because they see what is happening to families, how they're struggling and everything. But the question is, have other options been considered? Have we looked at other options in addition to these valid questions that this writer has posed in relation to do we have the support of actuarial science? Do we know what it is likely to entail? What are the likely impacts, of it as well? I'm going to pause there for a second. Want to return to that. We do have a caller, so we're going to the phone lines. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, sir. Mr. Connor, how are you?
Good morning. I am fine. How are you?
Medaya. I was calling me, say, one time I went fishing with Mr. Sam too, me and my stepfather.
Uh-huh.
But when you come out, they say that, you have depth finders and stuff, right? And I had nothing like that.
Right.
Yeah. So you know what he used to do? He used to go close in. He used to go over the ocean, right?
Uh-huh.
And then he had a piece of pipe, a long piece of pipe, and he slapped the rope down. Slapped the rope down for maybe about, say, 100 feet or so.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe 125 feet or 150 feet. And he go in the ocean, then he come back across. And when he come across, when he feel like he hit the drop off, he know when to come up, and then he drop his kelly down like that. That's how he used to find the thing. Because he used to drop off before the drop off.
Yeah.
Then he sail off into the ocean.
Uh-huh.
That used to get to the yellowtails and jacks.
Yeah, we used to call it. You want the boat to tail off the drop off.
Yeah, and the difference between the yellowtails, the ocean yellowtails is different from the they have less bone.
Mm-hmm.
Also.
Mm-hmm.
They don't come in the shallow, but the one that hangs up on the shore.
Yeah.
Part, yeah.
And the local yellowtail will have more bone in it, but some people prefer that, much more tasty. Even though the ocean yellowtail is likely to be going to be more meaty.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So you had the opportunity to go in Mr. Sam's in the skiff.
In the skiff.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, three of us in the skiff.
Uh-huh.
And I never forget that night. The dew water. When the dew water were coming down, they come down the seat. My bottom was soaking sore. Well, that was cold, but we caught a lot of fish.
Yeah, and was he utilizing that little trap that I was speaking about? They kept on the side of the boat with the bamboo to keep it afloat and keep the fish alive in there.
Yes. Yes, he had his thing together.
Oh, yes, he certainly did.
Together.
He certainly did. Well, thank you. Thank you for sharing your experience, about Sam the Fisherman. Again, these are people in our community, our forefathers that we need to remember, need to keep them in mind. We need to continue to talk about them because they were the ones that made this country made it what it is today. The friendliness, he would charter his boat, go out there and charter. I believe at one point in time he also would take the pilot out to the various ships when they were coming in for anchoring as well. I think he was involved in that as well. But want to thank that caller for sharing that with us as well. So, Ms. Susan, we're going to take the commercial break now. I want to come back to this pension situation as well. And I must declare an interest to the extent that I am a member of the pensions board. That is the government public service pension board. So I have to be guarded in terms of what I say and what I opine, and also to make clear that whatever I say in no way represents the views of the other board members or the pensions board itself. Folks, we're going to take a commercial break. Please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
At Doctor's Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctor's Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
Can you imagine your home completely organized? At Brand Source Custom Closets, we can. We specialize in designing and building custom closets and storage units for any room in your home, including the garage. With tailored designs and custom LED lighting solutions to fit your lifestyle and budget, our custom closets expert is committed to enhancing the value of your home with a solution that is uniquely yours. Visit our showroom or call 623-6774 to schedule a no-obligation appointment with our design expert. Brand Source Custom Closets, 209 Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park.
You know, as a little girl, I dreamt of traveling to faraway places and foreign lands. I tell you what though, no more dreaming. I'm going flying with Cayman Airways. How blessed are we in the Cayman Islands to have a very own national airline? Girl, you can fly to so many international destinations without the hassle of connecting flights. On top of Jamaica, Cuba, and Honduras, you got non-stop flights from Cayman to New York, Miami, Tampa, and even Denver, Los Angeles, Panama, and child, they now have Barbados. Going to be a little cafe con leche and Hollywood Squares for this old girl.
Make your travel dreams come true with Cayman Airways, offering non-stop flights for non-stop adventures in Panama, LA, and many more places in between. For details and to book, call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com.
West Bay Pharmacy. Personalized medicine, customized care to meet your specific needs. Your body is unique to you. Your medicine should be too. Whether you're seeking individual specific medication, correct size dosages, or simply better tasting medicine, ask your pharmacist or healthcare provider about how compounding at West Bay Pharmacy can increase your treatment options, not only for your family, but for your pets too. West Bay Pharmacy, open Monday through Saturday, 9 a.m. to 8 p.m., Sundays and most holidays from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m.
System one loaded.
1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the Record.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. No guests in the studio. The phone lines are open. Our toll-free number, 1-800-534-8255. 949-697-5555, also 949-8037, 949-6990, WhatsApp number 925-3261. So, one of our listeners had some pertinent, extremely relevant questions in relation to pensions withdrawal. We have seen possibly, 2 iterations of it, and possibly another one coming down the pipeline as well. The whole idea of pensions gained traction in the Cayman Islands late, very late. Just like other benefits that people could derive, came late in the Cayman Islands. In the days, you would always hear people talk about you work for companies like H.O. Marin and Company, and if you're lucky, they gave you a watch or something like that at the end of your tenure with them when you were quote unquote retiring. And they may give you a gold watch, and if you're lucky, they may pay you some monies for the length of time that you have been there, but it was all voluntary. And of course, some of the opposition to the establishment of pensions in the Cayman Islands would have come from the merchant class, because they would have been expected to contribute, either equal or contribute, or maybe a little bit more than the employees as well. But getting people to understand the benefits and the purpose of a pension was extremely, extremely difficult. There is no question that the populace here in the Cayman Islands, as well as other countries as well, are facing challenges with rising prices, rising costs of utilities, electricity, water, whatever else, and not seeing commensurate rise in their salaries as well. And other than the fact that they may have, if they do have savings, that they can rely on that, then the only other option is to resort to withdrawing funds from their pension scheme. We know in the United States you have something called a 401k. When you withdraw early from that, you basically have to pay penalties on that. In some instances, probably even have to pay taxes, on the withdrawals as well. So there are penalties involved. The question that the writer was asking is whether or not we're doing all of this off the top of our head when we decide that you can withdraw up to $30,000, $35,000 if it is intended to completely pay off your mortgage. And then the question is, how do you ensure that your pension fund is then replenished, especially if you have several years to go before you retire as well? So the valid question is, do we have the data? Does the science tell us what direction to go on this? We know that in the past, the government has used actuarials to determine what the government pensions fund. We know that there is still a government shortfall. Government still owes, hasn't come up to speed in terms of up to date with their payments to the pension scheme. So they go to actuarials and they ask for advice and figures in terms of how much needs to be paid in on an annual basis or whatever in order, to bring their contributions, up to speed. So we know that government knows about, actuarial and what actuarial science is all about. I think if you're going to convince people, other than those who see the benefit from it, that, why should I, if I'm starving, and I'm using this term loosely, if I'm starving, why should I starve to death while I have money in my pensions and I can take it out? If it is there for my retirement, for a rainy day or for my retirement, if I'm not able to retire because I'm likely to die before because I can't access my funds, how do you explain that to individuals? How do you explain? So maybe what the government also needs to do is to look at other options that may be available other than withdrawal from the pension scheme. I'm going to divert a little bit and go to where I saw in one of the Eastern Caribbean countries, in one of their newspapers, where they have listed the number of delinquencies or the number of foreclosures that they are experiencing. Each financial institution, each bank in that particular jurisdiction, they have told the government knows exactly how many foreclosures they're going to have. We don't get that data here in the Cayman Islands. Whether or not our financial institutions here are prepared to voluntarily give that information so that we know what the foreclosure rate is like, what the threats are to the various financial institutions. But I was pleased to see that in a BVI newspaper where they indicated each financial institution, what their bad mortgages, were like, and things of that nature. We have to ensure here in the Cayman Islands that we're not acting impulsively on issues, but our actions are based on the data or data, whichever way you want to call it, that it is based on that. It is extremely important. We cannot continue to have knee-jerk reactions to situations without knowing precisely what the problems are, what are the ramifications of our actions when we take those actions as well. Those are extremely, extremely important. And as far as the pensions are concerned, that is why it is so important. Here's another topic. This person has written and said, "Good morning, OC. I read in the Compass yesterday that the Premier is asking the UK to allow us to borrow more money to address global warming issues here. In my humble opinion, no money in the world can buy sea breeze. If we continue to allow 10 and soon 20-story buildings along our coastline, which will block the sea breeze from coming inland, we'll all suffocate with heat. So he doesn't need to continue to burden the people and, more importantly, the younger generation with a public debt. His government needs to stop granting approvals for these high-rise buildings along the coastline. I hope the people of this island or these islands are taking note of the coastline, how the heat we are now experiencing, especially in the 7 Mile Beach and on the 7 Mile Beach and West Bay corridor." You would have heard me also mention, if those of you who listen on a regular basis, and we know that many of you do, that I also saw in one of our sister overseas territories. One of their ministers there said that several British overseas territories were planning, either at the Joint Ministerial Council or maybe, I'm not sure if it's before then, to look at the various financial arrangements that we have here in the Cayman Islands. We have what is called the FFR, Framework for Financial Responsibility. Others have, and it has to do, with our borrowing ratios and everything. And the indication was that some overseas territories were going to be approaching the United Kingdom to sort of relax those or to allow the borrowing guidelines to be a little bit more liberal. I haven't been able to read the entire Compass article, but I think it is extremely important that if that approach is going to be made to the United Kingdom government, that we should know more about it. We should hear more about it. And maybe the Premier will make a statement in our Parliament in that regard as well. But certainly clarification on that would be welcome. One of our listeners has written and said there are other options for Caymanians, but the government keeps our options limited. Government's options are limited because they let the money leave the country. Well, thank you for telling us that there are many other options. I would certainly welcome if you would share what you think are the other options as well. That would certainly be welcomed if you can share with us the other options that you feel are available other than the withdrawal of pensions as well. Folks, we do have a caller on hold, but first we're going to take a commercial break. Please stay tuned. For the record, we'll be back shortly.
So much happening so fast, too much. It is hard for me to follow my health care instructions. The private counseling with West Bay Pharmacy literally saved my life.
At West Bay Pharmacy, we know how complex medications can be. Our pharmacists are delighted to offer you personalized one-on-one healthcare counseling, free medication review, therapeutic callbacks, and we will liaise with your physician to ensure you receive the best in quality medical care.
Quality of life has a whole new meaning with the right pharmacy to support you. Thank you, West Bay Pharmacy.
West Bay Pharmacy in Centennial Towers. Convenient quality care is just around the corner. Now you can WhatsApp your West Bay Pharmacy prescriptions to 516-0777.
There you go, sir. Thanks for choosing JN Money Transfer.
Boy, thanks to JN Money Transfer, I can stay right here in Cayman and pay mama bills back home in Jamaica. Her water, light, phone and other bills never late. Every month I pay everything in one place.
Make payments to over 30 companies in Jamaica through JN Money Transfer. Fast, affordable, convenient. Call 1-800-744-1163 for details.
Ready for more fun, more data, and endless connections? Digicel's all-new postpaid plans got you covered. Get more entertainment data for Netflix, Spotify, YouTube, and TikTok. Endless social data for WhatsApp, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Roaming data for the USA, Canada, and the Caribbean. And more international minutes than ever before. Stay connected on the fastest, most reliable network in Cayman. Make the switch today. Digicel. Better connected.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. We have a caller on hold. Going straight to the phone lines. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, Mr. Connor. It's very good to hear you, and thanks for taking my call.
Good morning. Thanks for calling in.
It's Lorna Bush. I usually don't try to camouflage who I am. And seems like even if I do, people know anyway.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. A couple of things that have really been on my mind might not be relevant to exactly the conversation you're having now or anything, but I thought I would take this opportunity since you didn't seem too busy in there. The first one really is I just want to talk about culture, Caymanian culture to be specific. And, you know, just to clear the air, I'm not here to put down anybody else's culture. I'm talking about ours and the fact that it appears to me that our own people aren't so interested in keeping ours, retaining it. And the problem is, with all the nationalities that we have some pretty strong cultures. People who come bringing their own, and that's perfectly natural, normal. And the problem comes in when it's almost like the process of osmosis. The stronger solution is always going to draw in the weaker. That's scientific. That's scientific. It's going to draw in the weaker. And if I reckon that, or, you know, kind of line that to what I see happening with culture, it's exactly what is happening. But why is it happening? It's happening because we are not trying to promote more than preserve. We have to do a little bit more than preserve what we have. We really need to be working on making it a little bigger, brighter, louder. You know, we've always been so subdued, and but it brings me to something that's been in my mind, and maybe you can help me a little bit with it.
Okay.
The location there in Rockhole, where HaHa had set up quite a few temporary, well, they had been recycled
classrooms, temporary.
Yeah, and I know about it because I helped him get them, helped him put them there, and helped him in his effort, and it was a sterling effort to try to bring vocational training. He did everything, I believe, possible and more out of his own resources. And he helped people. He can point to many people right now who found jobs in electrical, plumbing, those kind of things.
Yes.
But he did not get the support. And I'm not asking, I'm telling him.
No. We know that you have first-hand knowledge of it.
He did not get the support that he needed. No, whatever else happened, I'm not quite sure, but I know that at one point, every day, if you went down there around 4 o'clock or so in the afternoon, there would be a group of, now, in my own mind, I made it equivalent to a book that Roy Button has, A Gathering of Old Men. And I'm not saying it was really a gathering of old men, because we'll see you yourself and was a part of it. But so we could actually call it a gathering of brilliant minds, if you want to make it sound better. And there were brilliant minds gathered and talking stories, or just shooting the breeze, as you call it, or playing dominoes. What could be more cultural than that? Now, I've been away had been away for quite some time. I was shocked when I went around there and see that there's nothing.
Yep.
Nothing. No, who shut that down? Because even if it was nothing more than a gathering of older persons, what was wrong with that? What was wrong with a bunch of smart people sitting down, sharing knowledge? If Lord Graham were there, it would be peppered up with a whole pile of politics.
Yep.
But what aren't we supposed to sit and talk about our political situation? I don't understand.
And caller, I can tell you, Public Lands Commission, their enforcer, she went down there. There were verbal threats that were made to Mr. Alan Moore in that regard. Yes, there were some issues where you had people repairing cars there, but that was happening even before Mr. Moore established that location. And remember now, he didn't just he wasn't just a squatter there. He had permission from the government to, to be there. But the Public Lands Commission, they sent their enforcer down there. And like I said, he was verbally threatened. Of course, part of the excuse that was used also was the fact that that bypass from Eastern Avenue to North Church Street was going in as well, and that would interrupt things.
Well, I don't see it there yet. I don't see it there yet. I just don't understand why we have to so frantically try to destroy anything and everything that reminds us of who we are, of what kind of people we were. I don't understand why we're so anxious to totally eradicate anything that makes us look like we're part of the Caribbean.
Yeah.
I mean, I travel in other Caribbean islands, and that's one of the things I love, is to see how the people just, oh man, the gatherings and it's something that I love. It's islandy. It's good. I like to see the little stalls along the way and people gathering to buy fruit and everybody having a little story to tell. That's how I remember growing up, and maybe it's just a nostalgia, but I wish a little bit of it had been retained. And then there's this other pet peeve of mine. It's a huge one. For years now, the government has claimed that they have opened a center for older persons. It's the OPAC. It was declared open before the last election. Mr. Alden opened that center up in the airport area there.
Behind Foster's, yeah?
Yeah, it's the old Woods furniture store. And it was set up beautifully, but nothing happened. Now you're going to hear COVID. There was at least 2 years between what happened and when COVID came, I can tell you. But the excuse from government is going to be, COVID came, they had to convert it to one of these injection places or something, the COVID centers. Now, COVID come and gone, well, at least that part of it. COVID is still very much around, but we don't need to talk about it anymore, apparently. Whatever the mission was, that was fulfilled. It's done. No more injections, all of that. Now, I keep going by, and I'll call people in the ministry, when are we going to open this? And I did something recently and just wrote down the people that I know have passed on into the last 2 years that would have been older persons that may have wanted to utilize and use that service. And it's a staggering number of people, just the ones that I know. And I'm sure there are many that I don't know. Our people are dropping like flies, the older people and even the younger people. But we can sit on a beautifully furnished location that must be costing a lot of money. I mean, you should take it is beautiful and serving no purpose. Not one older person can say, I went there today and sat with my friends and we talked about the olden days. I didn't realize, OC, that when you getting older like how we are, you want to talk about your older days. You want to hold on to it.
Yes.
And you need to talk to our children and grandchildren. I am so lucky I even have a great-grand now. If I don't tell them about the Cayman that I grew up in, they will have absolutely no idea.
And many of them want to hear. Many of them want to hear about it.
If they want to hear, I have some who, when they sit down, their mouth, their ears, their nose, eyes, everything is open, just taking it in. My oldest child, my son, he would spend hours upon hours just listening to my mother, his grandmother, talk. Before him, it was me. I didn't want to be with people my age. I wanted to be around my grandmother and her friends because I wanted to know about 1932. I wanted to know about how did you get the propane up there to run that lighthouse and you had nothing to do it with, And I listened and I took it in, and sometimes people will think of me as somebody who believes they know everything. No, I don't know half what I wished I could know. But I tell you what, I don't spend a day that I don't try to learn something new. Or something old. Something new or something old.
Yes.
we have an obligation. It's an obligation to try to continue some of our oral history. You know, I worked for years with the Cultural Foundation, and in some ways I think we tried and maybe were slightly successful, but nowhere to the capacity that it should be. And again, I believe it's a deliberate effort to keep some of the programs and stuff out of schools. They're programs that should be run, should be part of a curriculum run by the Cultural Foundation. That should be in schools. You have people who would volunteer to go out and do it. I heard one of them call you yesterday, Deal Ebanks. I didn't hear everything, but I know if Deal opens his mouth, it's something to do about Cayman culture and Cayman tradition.
And if my memory serves me correct, that what I read this morning with Sam the fisherman, Sam Ebanks, he's related. Deal is related to him.
Okay, very, very possible.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Deal knows the history and stuff. I think he went out of his way to learn. And you know what's even better? He has a daughter who he has trained up. She can blow that conch shell. Well, I don't want to say better than him because he may be listening and he may call in and challenge. But the point is, he's training up younger people. You know, not everybody's going to go for it. You'll hear some, oof, that's foolishness. I don't want this. I don't want that. That's fine. But there will be some. There will be some fertile ground where the seed is sown and it will germinate and grow. And we need to go out and do a little bit more digging and looking and searching for that fertile ground. And if it is one student in a class of 24 that picks that up, that's fine. That's good. We got one more. One more. We're not going to win everybody. That's an impossible dream. But we have to do more. That's why I really call it.
Thank you.
We
Thank you.
have to do more. And I leave you with that. And I just hope we could start instituting, implementing, and doing more.
Okay. Thank you very much, Colin. Before you go, I just want to say that you've spoken about the cultural part and our history and everything. And, you know, what goes along with that as well is, you know, ownership in Cayman. And if you get an opportunity, there's a article in the Glean, and I think I saw it on Loop Cayman as well. It's called KPRET, K-P-R-E-I-T. That's an acronym for a Jamaican company, buys another property in the Cayman Islands. So not only are we at the risk of losing our culture by our culture being dominated by other cultures, but our ownership of Cayman as well. And when you lose the two of those, then you've lost everything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that has been my fear. The fact that we've tried to protect everything. We protect every animal, every crawling thing, anything that moves. But we don't look out for people. We're not trying to protect the things that are important. We have probably only about 4 living human beings that can say, I was born on the island of Little Cayman.
Yeah.
4 people. And we haven't even tried to say, recognize these people or get some stories. People aren't born in Little Cayman anymore. And the ones that were born there are quickly dying. Or I shouldn't say quickly, slowly dying because natural attrition. They're aging out. And it was all one family. It was just one remaining family that had come from there. And when I was first bringing it to the attention of certain people, there were about 8 living ones then. But over the last few years, we've lost 3, 4 of that. It's one family only. And they're going. They're going.
Yep.
And then there won't be a person left that can say, I was born on the island of Little Cayman.
Yep.
I think that's sad. I really think that's so sad.
Yep.
I mean, we're planting mangroves, and we're planting this, and we're planting that. We can't plant a few more Caymanians over in Little Cayman or Grand Cayman or Cayman Bragg.
Yep.
We need to plant more people.
Yep.
We need to concentrate on people. Thank you.
Thank you very much for calling on that, and you express yourself, so well, so clearly, and so passionately. Folks, top of the hour headline news. Please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
Today's biggest news.
Radio K-Man, your voice, your choice.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio K-Man's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
The headline news is brought to you by Health Services Authority and the Ministry of Tourism and Transport.
At its September 12th meeting, Cabinet approved a reduction in funding for the design and construction of a new civic center northward by $1.32 million, shifting it to other budgets, including $400,000 for the government administration building, $425,000 for ramps and jetties, and $500,000 towards parks and upgrades. 24 hours after Azerbaijan's army launched an offensive in Nagorno-Karabakh, ethnic Armenian forces have agreed to Russia's terms for a ceasefire. One of the key demands that Karabakh forces have accepted is a proposal for complete disarmament. Some 120,000 ethnic Armenians live in the enclave, recognized internationally as part of Azerbaijan. 3 years ago, Azerbaijan recaptured areas in and around Karabakh and on Tuesday demanded a full surrender. And the fentanyl that killed a 1-year-old child at a nursery in New York City was hidden in a nap room under a mat as he slept. Nicholas Dominici, who had been in the nursery for just a week, died of a suspected drug overdose on Friday. 3 other children were admitted to hospital after being exposed to the powerful narcotic at the daycare center in the Bronx. Drug conspiracy and murder charges have been filed against 2 people. Those are your headlines. I'm Carsley Fuller.
Today's biggest news.
Radio K-Man, your voice, your choice.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio K-Man's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
The headline news is brought to you by Health Services Authority and the Ministry of Tourism and Transport.
It's one of the best moments of your life when you welcome your baby into the world. The HSA's experienced women's health and maternity team provides the highest quality of care throughout your pregnancy and delivery. As a JCI accredited hospital, we are the leader in maternal care, safely delivering over 700 babies annually. Visit hsa.ky for more information. At HSA, we are committed to caring for you.
I'm Liani Tibbetts, Miss World Cayman Islands 2022, and I need your help to keep Cayman clean. When you're out and about, please dispose of your trash in the proper containers. Do not throw trash out of your car or leave it on our beaches. And if you see litter, take a moment to pick it up and dispose of it properly.
Be a part of the solution, not the pollution. Littering is a crime punishable by a $500 fine or 6 months in prison. Brought to you by the Beautification Task Force and Ministry of Tourism and Ports.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio K-Man.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. No guests in the studio. Phone lines are open. So earlier we spoke about the article, and someone, I read WhatsApp message from one of our listeners speaking about the premier, the story that they read in the Compass about the premier seeking changes to government borrowing limits set by the UK. So I'll share the article with you. This is the Cayman Compass, Reshma Raghunath, not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, September the 19th, 2023, and it reads, Premier Wayne Patton says he has approached the United Kingdom to request changes to the borrowing limits set out in the framework for fiscal responsibility to assist Cayman with challenges related to climate change. Patton, who is also finance minister, confirmed this to the Cayman Compass following queries on the status of the FFR, which he said remains unchanged at this time. And I think that's basically the extent of the article. So it doesn't go into details in terms of, what funds are, what changes are needed to that, in terms of climate. We hope and we trust that it is climate and climate only. And you would have heard us, I think it was Friday, one day last week, that we had representatives from the Cayman Islands and the UK government here, talking about the United Kingdom's that training workshop that they had. Possibly we should be asking the UK to contribute rather than to change or borrowing guidelines to allow us to do that. They, when it is convenient to them, like to boast about biodiversity of its overseas territories and everything else. So we should really get them to put more of their money where their mouth is in relation to that. We shouldn't have to be going to them to increase the borrowing limits, for that, unless it has something to do, with regen and the rehabilitation of our landfill. But it would be useful to know as well. Of course, when the budget is being debated, we are likely to hear more in that regard. But it specifically says that he will be approaching them in relation to issues of climate change. There are other overseas territories that are having financial challenges as well. BVI, for instance, I think it was after Hurricane Irma, they were offered a line of credit somewhere between $200 and $400 million. They never took it up at that point in time. They may have some regrets in that regard now, as well. But like I said earlier, there was an indication by one overseas territory minister that several overseas territories would be approaching the United Kingdom about adjusting those borrowing guidelines as well. So you heard Ms. Lorna talk about the threat to our culture here in the Cayman Islands, and we need more like Ms. Lorna to talk about that, and even our cultural entities in the Cayman Islands. When I say cultural entities, those government and non-governmental entities that are involved in culture in the Cayman Islands. We have to be upfront with people and let them know that our culture is being threatened. We have to be realistic about it. We don't have to be aggressive about it necessarily, but we have to be realistic, and we have to let people know that our culture is being threatened, and in so many ways. That threat can come not only by others imposing their culture upon us, but the way that we influence our youngsters, with them adopting cultures that are brought into this country by others. We have seen it. We have seen it in the past. You think our gun culture in the Cayman Islands was accidental? You think our drug culture in the Cayman Islands is accidental? No, they aren't. So let's talk a little bit about property. And I'm going to share this article with you from the Jamaica Gleaner. This is September the 20th, 2023. Real Estate Investment Trust, Kingston Properties Limited, known by the acronym KPREIT, has closed the acquisition on its fifth property in the Cayman Islands. A deal CEO Kevin Richards describes as the company's largest in that market to date. The company has purchased 36 units in the Grand Harbor Commercial Center, along with an adjoining parking lot. The acquisition price was not disclosed, but Kingston Properties said the deal, which is its fifth for the Cayman Islands gave it control over the majority of strata. The article goes on to say the complex was listed for $21.7 million on real estate brokerage firm Central 21 Cayman Islands website. However, Kingston Properties CEO Kevin Richards emphasized that his company did not purchase the entirety of the property, which sits on the outskirts of the capital, Georgetown. The closest he came to revealing the deal price was to state that the transaction was bigger than US $3.13 million paid for 3 commercial units in a mixed-use industrial development called Gumtree 5. The Grand Harbor units purchased by Kingston Properties spanned 37,276 square feet and are fully tenanted, the company said in a market filing. We did not purchase the surrounding vacant lots, but as part of the deal, we have the option to develop the parking. If we decide to develop the parking lot, we have the options to explore underground or other types of parking arrangements, Richards told the Financial Gleaner. Well, I hope when they say underground that they mean under the first floor, means that the first floor will be elevated, because if you try to go underground there, the water table is pretty high. If you don't know, if you're not aware of it, water table is pretty high there. So the article goes on to say Cayman Islands is the second largest market for Kingston Properties, centered between Jamaica and the apex of the United States. At half year ending June, Kingston Properties booked revenues of US $982.5 million from Jamaica, US $737.3 million from the Cayman Islands, and US 11 point something million from the United States. The size of its assets in each market was 1.5 million Jamaica, 24.4 million for Cayman, and 5 million for the U.S. The Cayman acquisition was executed days after Kingston Properties reported that it sold its Dumfries Road property in the busy New Kingston area for a gain of about $400,000 US. The company has been in acquisition for some time, mainly focused on Jamaica and Cayman, but it is next looking to enter the United Kingdom. Folks, we're going to take a break, but again, before I go to the break, we talk about cultural threats. We need to look at the economic threats as well. And again, folks, our policy makers are failing to address the whole issue of property ownership in the Cayman Islands. When are we going to wake up and sense that there is a threat surrounding our existence here in the Cayman Islands? Folks, please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
Did you know that you can send money transfers to financial institutions anywhere in Jamaica with JN Money?
You mean I can send money straight to my account and cut out the middleman?
Yes, that's exactly what I mean. You send your own money to your own account, giving you peace of mind that the money is in your account.
JN Money Transfers to Financial Institution is another convenient service offered by JN Money. You can have this done from any JN Money location. Deposit your money straight to your account without the hassle of asking someone to do it for you. JN Money Transfers to Financial Institutions, making life easier.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
You know, as a little girl, I dreamt of traveling to faraway places and foreign lands. I tell you what though, no more dreaming. I'm going flying with Cayman Airways. How blessed are we in the Cayman Islands to have a very own national airline? Girl, you can fly to so many international destinations without the hassle of connecting flights. On top of Jamaica, Cuba, and Honduras, you got non-stop flights from Cayman to New York, Miami, Tampa, and even Denver, Los Angeles, Panama, and child, they now have Barbados. Going to be a little cafe con leche and Hollywood Squares for this old girl.
Make your travel dreams come true with Cayman Airways, offering non-stop flights for non-stop adventures in Panama, LA, and many more places in between. For details and to book, call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system. For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. No guest in the studio, but we have created a phone link with Dr. Steve McFeel. Doc, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
I was listening to your show on my telephone when I got the call from you.
Okay.
From Miss Susan. And it's very interesting how we approach things in the Cayman Islands. And so I am not very optimistic about any change, and especially when it comes to finance, economics, and culture. Why is it that every time that we want to speak, or that we do speak about our culture, that we have to preface it with apologies to other people? You see, we're not going to get anywhere with that kind of weak colonial talk. I noticed the lady who had a long conversation with you, talking about the culture, and the first thing she did when she called you was to preface her what she had to say with apologies to other people's culture. That's not going to help and facilitate change in the Cayman Islands. And because culture is different from race. Culture is different from race and homophobia. Culture is the way we live, our life, our language, how we speak, the foods we cook, the things that we do. Why do we have to apologize to that to other people? I just don't understand that sort of mentality at all. When I go to other people's country and they talk to me about their culture, they don't apologize to me for them talking about their culture when I'm around or in my hearing. And the problem we have is even your radio station commits the cultural suicide every day. All of the some of the music that you play, that your radio station plays, I wouldn't have that in my radio station if I was running a country, if I was hating a country, if I was nation building. I wouldn't have some of that music that you play that influence people, all that shorter man type music and stuff that you have. It's no wonder that we are so weak, mentally weak, that we have to keep apologizing to other people for what we think, who we are. I would never apologize to anyone about what I think about who I am and who my family is and who my colleagues are. I would never ever do that. That's the problem that we have, you know. And what we need is, you know, I had the opportunity when I was growing up, when I was maturing into the kind of person I am now. I had the opportunity to study the behavior of man the society that I would live in, that I would grow up to articulate my thoughts in, and to grow in. And two of the great people that I studied was a man called Max Weber, the great German sociologist, and a guy called Kenneth Galbraith, who was a great economist to the Kennedy regime. He was a Harvard professor. He was an ambassador to India for the United States, and so forth. And he wrote some great books that people ought to try to get rid of them and read them. One of them was called The New Industrial State and the New Technological Society that he laid out many years today what we would become today, the economic system that we would be living in, and so forth. And Max Weber, and his brilliancy, laid out the society that we would be living in. The difference between, even though it's a geographical difference, the difference between east and west sides of countries. How when you live on one side of the country and you live on the other side of the country, the social development that is sort of different from them, and the connotations that people have to face because they live on one east side or they live on the west side of New York or London, or doesn't matter where it is, Chicago, or doesn't matter where it is. And we need to start exposing our people to that kind of behavioral science and that kind of economic science early, so that they can be strong and that they can understand the system that they're living in. And Kenneth Galbraith outlined to us what would happen when we move from the industrial society to the new technological society. What would happen to us, and how we have to be prepared to live in this place. And so, when people come on and they have a long dissertation about this and about that, you have to stand up and you have to get out there and you have to do what we do every day on the radio, and you have to be preaching that. And you have to be preaching that to your children and to your neighbors and to your brothers and sisters, because we have to fight for their minds today. I mean, we don't even understand. Like when I make I talk about the old cliche that people say, all roads leads to Rome, and I say all roads now lead to Cayman. And what you said today, the news that you read in the Gleaner, points to that effect. Here we are, our neighbors. How many Caymanian companies have any investments in Jamaica? How many? But they're buying up our land. Mm-hmm. They're buying up our geography. And soon they will come and they say, listen, I'm an owner now. So I'm a partner with you. And soon they will say the partnership is now that I am the dominant partner culturally and economically. We don't even think about these things. And so we go on our merry way, going to borrow money from England and going to do this and going to do that. And that runs me into the pension money.
Yeah.
We don't even trust each other. Here we are, the savings that we have, the people that save, and right away, other people saw what the government was doing, and they jumped into it and took it over. They said, give us the money, and we will invest it for you. And the government said, okay, well, you go ahead and do it. And then all these investment funds with pension money started up and came on. And every time I see people that say to me, oh, I lost $5,000 of a pension last month. I lost $3,000. I had $35,000 saved, and when I got my report, I only had $28,000 saved. And I said, good for you. I wouldn't give them my money to gamble with me, with my money on stock markets in different countries.
But Doc, if I can interrupt you there, don't you think that it is extremely important that people understand, when you talk about investments and you're in it for the long term, that those values are going to fluctuate. They're going to go up and they're going to go down. So the same loss that they saw from 35 to 28,000, they may see it then go up from 35 to 40 or 45,000. So, it's
it's a gamble, Ori. It's a gamble.
It's a gamble. It is a gamble, but it is also a long term. thing as well.
Well, if it's a long-term thing, or it then it should go into a national fund. It should not be sent overseas in another market where people have control and people taking their commission out and this and that, and then you're the one who loses because it's your money. Why should you give your money for other people? It's in a compulsory pension scheme, and I heard this guy Mickey, I think he's from West Bay, always has been talking about that. In a compulsory pension scheme, it should be going to a national pension fund, not overseas to other people.
But that fund has to invest somewhere, and the investments in Cayman are limited, Doc. The investments in Cayman are limited. How many companies do we have in the Cayman Islands that have a public offering where you can actually acquire shares? The only thing that we have basically here is mainly real estate. That's about it. So pension funds have to invest, and they invest, and you can't put all of your eggs in one basket.
Create companies, create the opportunities for people to do that. Not create it for other people to come inside to own your country. All of that, all the things you're saying has happened in other countries and will continue to happen. That's the problem. And out of those ones you have Cayman, you have the what's it called, the Cayman National Bank? What's it, Cayman Bank that the government owns?
Cayman, the Development Bank, Cayman Islands Development Bank.
Why is that not fully funded? So Caymanians can have an alternative, a banking alternative, where they can invest in mortgages and stuff, to put their own money, invest in mortgages, invest in their own funds. The credit union has something similar to that.
Yeah. Well, I would say comfortably, Doc, that any pension fund that has something like over $1 billion in assets or dollars there, that is value of over $1 billion, you cannot find enough investment in the Cayman Islands to put that in. It has to be put elsewhere.
Well, I differ with you. Mm-hmm. And another thing, I see that they still have this food harvest scheme about spending $20 million to replenish the sand in 7 Mile Beach. Why are they doing that?
Yes, the people that created the problem, now we're gonna rescue them.
The problem is, the disease is that those people build too close to the sea,
mm-hmm.
and now that has eroded the beaches, and they should be required to remove those structures. Why are we so cowardly and afraid to tell them that? Or, alternatively, we could say to use your own money.
Mm-hmm.
It's time to replenish it yourself.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But the government's not going to spend the money to do that.
I agree wholeheartedly with you on that.
And then we are creating all these markets, all these offices overseas. Are they spent? Are the financial giants putting any money into that? Are they putting any money into the expense of all these people to bring money to Cayman Islands? Why is it that solely on the government? Why is it that's solely the burden of the government to do that?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And yet they talk about this partnership that we have. Where's the partnership? Who's the dominant person in the partnership? A partnership means mutual agreements and mutual understandings and mutual power. I just don't. That's why I said. I wouldn't mind in the future if you could try to get a round table where we could discuss some of these high matters with people like Roy Borden, Teresa Lewis, Mira Lawrence, and all of the intellectual giants of Cayman.
Yeah.
Because it seems that we are just pulling ideas out of the hat and going with them and spending money. It's just like someone go and hire a contractor and then to build a house, and the contractor then builds the house out of sheet rock. And when the rain comes, they say, "Oh, the house is falling apart." You never thought about it. You never research. You never see you never use due diligence and see what was the best interest for me. What's my best interest?
Mm-hmm.
That's the problem we have.
Yeah.
Everything is sort of shallow on the shallow, and then we don't want to accept people who have deep commitments to the country and who have the knowledge. For instance, I was watching a program the other day on YouTube, and it was one of these usual programs about some guy from Africa or someplace or something doing videos in China and so forth. And he was saying that how he was walking beside a lake, and he was walking in this park and the gardens and stuff. And when I looked at it, they had these beautiful, the pavements, the pavements that you walk on and car drive on. Here we are, beautiful in Georgetown, like I said. And we have someone who does not understand that all that stuff that they did in Cardinal Avenue, all those pavements there, the stuff that they used that they bought from flowers, they're for gardening ornaments and for driveways and your private home. They're not meant to be walking on drudging every day by cars and thousands of people. They're not the proper stuff for paving a street. They're not. And then we putting all this money into that. In the next year or 4 months, you see them out there power washing them because they'd be so dirty and so honorary, because they're not properly sealed and stuff and things like that for that kind of stuff. Yeah, we are, and we don't consult anyone because we considered anyone who's Caymanian and who has more knowledge than the next Caymanian. You would think that you would be seeking out to get them to be on their side to have input. Oh, we shun them. And we say, we don't want this, we don't want them. They're going to march down the country and so forth. So we that have the knowledge, and we have the knowledge, what they do, they kick us to one side, and they have all these people. You have to urbanize countries, towns, and cities. You have to study urban geography, and you have to study the science of urbanization. You just can't pick up someone and say, okay, we're going to give you this job, this directorship to do this and do that without the knowledge. A lot of us have the knowledge because we went away to different countries and we gained the knowledge. And a lot of us, when we went there, I know especially that's what I did, learn everything that we could learn. Like we were like sponges. And what is it now? Like what the minister said, the Minister of Education said to me on the radio the other morning. You heard what she said. She tried to get brilliant men like Roy Barton back into the system so that they could develop the country. Mm-hmm. And what she said, they wouldn't allow her to do that.
Yep.
That's where it is, Orrett.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Doc, I want to thank you. Thank you very much, for that as well. We have a few callers that we were going to try to accommodate as well as soon as we return from this commercial break. Again, want to thank Dr. Steve McFeel for his contribution there. Folks, please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
Are you feeling sick but don't feel ill enough to go to the doctor? Ask your pharmacist for advice. Here at West Bay Pharmacy, our pharmacists have been trained to offer helpful, easy-to-understand advice on the treatment of everyday minor ailments for yourself and all the family. Anything from headaches, cough, and sore throat to cold sores, our pharmacists will know when medical help is needed and will not hesitate to refer you to your doctor if your symptoms demand it. Like doctors, our pharmacists have a professional code, which means all personal information you give them will be treated in the strictest confidence. Visit us today at West Bay Pharmacy, where we care about your health.
Your dream home starts with a vision, and often inspiration is at the heart of that vision. Brand Source Home Gallery's in-house designers are here to help bring your vision to life. Whether you're remodeling or building a new home, Brand Source Home Gallery is your one-stop solution. Explore their kitchen cabinets, sinks, faucets, bath fixtures, tubs, vanities, and more. Let Brand Source's designers help and inspire you with your next project. Call 623-5000 and schedule an appointment with a design expert at Brand Source Home Gallery, Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park, serving Cayman for 50 years.
You know, as a little girl, I dreamt of traveling to faraway places and foreign lands. I tell you what though, no more dreaming. I'm going flying with Cayman Airways. How blessed are we in the Cayman Islands to have our very own national airline? Girl, you can fly to so many international destinations without the hassle of connecting flights. On top of Jamaica, Cuba, and Honduras, you got non-stop flights from Cayman to New York, Miami, Tampa, and even Denver, Los Angeles, Panama, and child, they now have Barbados. Going to be a little cafe con leche and Hollywood Squares for this old gal.
Make your travel dreams come true with Cayman Airways, offering non-stop flights for non-stop adventures in Panama, LA, and many more places in between. For details and to book, call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. We want to thank Dr. Steve Macfield for his contribution there as well. I believe we have a caller on hold, but before we take that caller, Ms. Susan, I have a WhatsApp message that came in pretty early, so I want to share this now. The person says, good morning, Mr. Connor. My topic is Cayman and the workforce. Let me introduce myself to you. I am a Caymanian and living in the islands for 34 years. I have seen many development of business, many development take place, of business and schools. We were the first batch of students to transfer from the community college to the UCCI. My first job as a young girl in the Cayman Islands was at the Holiday Inn where the Ritz-Carlton is now situated. The talk about Caymanian not wanting to work is a fat lie. Where did Caymanians get their houses from? Where do they get money from to send their children to school? Where do they get money to buy automobiles? Where do they get money to buy their houses? The person says, I must say thanks to the government for their contribution to making sure Caymanians get a chance to be educated in the different fields of their choice. Also to introduce a scholarship to Caymanian students. I also thank the Cayman Islands government for introducing WORC, W-O-R-C, for training the Caymanian and preparing them for the workforce. I went to do some refresher training at work last year, and the class consisted of 10 persons. The staff at work is very professional, very helpful, and kind. Saying all this, the staff at work told us before training that they will place us in a job after we complete the training. So they sent us via our computer a long list of businesses that needed workers. The batch of 10 persons that were trained from last year, only a few received employment. I know because we correspond with each other. And the few Caymanians who are qualified for some of the positions got the lower jobs, and the foreigners and our work permit holders the better positions. Why do I know this? I conversed with several persons who came from other jurisdictions. The person goes on to say that the government needs to send representatives to all the workplaces and take note of how many Caymanians are employed, their positions, and get immigration to do the job. So what they're saying there basically is they want government to be more proactive. They want them to monitor these companies as well. The person says they also went to many job fairs as well. Said that we should please note that they got a job with a family member and it is rewarding. So this person has basically expressed the challenges that she has had in the workforce and that she believes many other Caymanians are having, as far as being able to move into good paying, financially rewarding as well as emotionally rewarding jobs as well. Ms. Susan, let's go to the phone lines. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, Mr. Connor.
Good morning. How are you?
Fine, thanks. The first thing I wanted to mention is, we have the paper out now for the Adverse Possession Act that is in discussion for feedback. the first thing I want to say is that I think that law, I don't think the law should be abolished, but I think it should be amended and modernized to where the only persons that have access to adverse possession is anyone that can be proven to be connected to that property, for example, family members and the Cayman Islands government, because no one should be able to come to the Cayman Islands or live here and try to take adverse possession of someone else's property that has nothing to do with the property. And if government has the right to take adverse possession after a certain period of time, that those properties could benefit government in providing housing for Caymanians.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Just like dormant accounts, we don't hear a lot about that these days, but remember at one point in time there were decisions that were made, and I think legislation may have been passed as well, as far as dormant accounts were concerned, to ensure that the private banks did not benefit from those dormant accounts.
Right. You're absolutely right, because that actually happened to my mom. She is disabled and not able to make it to the bank, at a certain period of time or when it's too busy. And they took her account. Her account went dormant. They closed it. They did not disclose to her where her funds have gone. So you're absolutely right. That's another thing, that if they're going to do that, there has to be a longer period of notice, and to make sure that everyone's address and phone numbers and so forth are up to date. No one called my mom. And also, if that money is to be taken away, that money should go to the government also, in order to go back into the government services for revenue. The other thing I want to talk about is the cost of properties. I heard Minister Seymour on last week, and I wholeheartedly agree with just about everything he said in regards to immigration reform. It is not that we don't. Cayman was built on immigrants and expats. I hate to use those two words, especially the word expats. It has a negative connotation for me, but Cayman was built on immigrants coming to our country, visitors, and we don't want to scare anyone off of not.
I would ask you to elaborate on that when you say that it was built by immigrants coming to this country, because most people would challenge you on that and said that generational Caymanians built this country. It was only in the 80s and 90s that you had people coming to the Cayman Islands to derive the benefits, of it as well. So I think, there are many who would challenge you on that statement that you just made.
Right. Well, maybe I'm not sure. I could have used the word loosely, but when I say built the Cayman Islands, in terms of Caymanians had to go overseas to other countries, yes, in order to make income. Mm-hmm. And then we had of course we've always had a governorship that was not our own independent governorship. So those immigrants came to the islands and helped assist with whatever we needed to do to develop and build the country. We couldn't have done it on our own, because we technically, when you go back, anyway, that's going to get too long. But after, like you said, back in the 80s and 90s, I was born in the early 70s. Caymanians migrated to other countries. My great maternal grandfather was from Jamaica, and Caymanians, Jamaicans migrated to Cayman. I'm like I said, I was born in the early 1970s, and my great-great-grandfather's from Jamaica. So that tells you there was a lot of migration coming from those countries, Cuba, Jamaica, Europe, to help Caymanians build. They were marrying. This new marriage between nationalities isn't something new, although times have changed, and the cultures have definitely changed, and people are different. But it's not nothing new to us. But why I got into that is because I'm saying, in terms of immigration, and I heard Minister Seymour talking about a lot of different areas, and I've also heard Dr. McField speak on some of the areas he's going to recommend, him and his committee are going to recommend for immigration reform, is that geographically Cayman is only a certain size, and we have to control population growth. We are going to have a very blurred line in order to distinguish and determine who indigenous native Caymanians are. And this permanent resident point system, or however it goes, where anyone can buy, as long as they can show that as long as they can demonstrate that they have purchased property in the Cayman Islands, they can apply for a permanent residence, or I'm not sure if it's also status. That is marketing Caymanians out of home ownership, because we're only geographically a certain size. So if others are coming and they've been here for a certain amount of years, you know, Minister Seymour touched on so many things that was connecting the dots for me, at least, that it made so much sense, because you're supposed to know this is not the United States or Canada or one of those bigger jurisdictions, even Jamaica or Cuba or you know, anywhere else. We're one of the fastest developing countries in the world right now, but we're also the smallest. And we have to be able to do it now, today, to curb population growth. We have to be able to continue to see that we have to protect our people, our Caymanian people, because they've changed. And I'm not pointing any fingers at UDP. I'm not pointing any fingers at PPM. I'm not pointing any fingers at the present administration. But collectively, to me, over a successive period of time, every government has had the opportunity to curb certain things, and it continues to deteriorate to a certain extent in my eyes. And if we have governments that do not want to challenge the banking system or the banking association because the government shouldn't intervene in that, every other country, the government is involved in banking because it has to control what affects the economy, whether that's indirectly or directly. And again, we go back to how small our jurisdiction is. And if everyone is able to buy property and qualify for permanent residence, where are Caymanians going to live?
Yep. Caller, I want to thank you. Thank you very much for your contribution there. When we return, I will talk about the unintended consequences, the law of unintended consequences. And I will speak to two. One, what the caller has just mentioned in relation to property ownership and qualification for permanent residence. And the other one in relation to the policy that we have that work dependent of work permit holders have to attend private schools, the law of unintended consequences. Please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
Introducing Digicel's all-new prepaid plans. Packed with more any-use data than ever before. Entertainment data for the apps you love, like Netflix, Spotify, YouTube, and TikTok. Plus, endless social data for Snapchat, WhatsApp, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. So you're always in the know. Stay connected. Stay entertained with Digicel's new prepaid plans. Activate in the My Digicel app today. Digicel. Better connected.
At Doctors Hospital, we know life happens, and usually when you least expect it. So when unexpected medical issues arise, you need quality care close to home. Located in the heart of Georgetown, our accomplished team of physicians and medical staff treat minor urgent conditions such as migraines, chest and abdominal pain, shortness of breath, burns, broken bones, open wounds, and more. 24 hours, 7 days a week with no appointment necessary. Peace of mind is important when life happens. At Doctors Hospital, we're always here just for you. Need to speak to someone? Call 949-6066.
You know, as a little girl, I dreamt of traveling to faraway places and foreign lands. I tell you what though, no more dreaming. I'm going flying with Cayman Airways. How blessed are we in the Cayman Islands to have a very own national airline? Girl, you can fly to so many international destinations without the hassle of connecting flights. On top of Jamaica, Cuba, and Honduras, you got non-stop flights from Cayman to New York, Miami, Tampa, and even Denver, Los Angeles, Panama, and child, they now have Barbados. Going to be a little cafe con leche and Hollywood Squares for this old girl.
Make your travel dreams come true with Cayman Airways, offering non-stop flights for non-stop adventures in Panama, LA, and many more places in between. For details and to book, call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. We're on the last leg of the show this morning. We've closed off the phone lines. Several things that I wanted to share with you this morning, but I haven't been able to. But hopefully there will be another day as well. I wanted to, and I think there will be another day. There are some who may believe, well, OC failed to defend Radio Cayman when Dr. McPhee was saying, about the music that they play here on Radio Cayman. Dr. McPhee was expressing his opinion that if he owned Radio Cayman, what he would do. But I will say this, that Radio Cayman does recognize that we have different cultures on the island. We have people with different tastes on the island, even Caymanians. For instance, I don't like country music. I'm not a big fan of country music, but there are Caymanians who are. I like some reggae music, and I like the older ones, like the Bob Marleys and the Dennis Brown and all of those. But Radio Cayman is a government-owned radio station. We shouldn't be and would not be allowed to develop any sort of bias, in relation to it. We're an equal employer, equal when I say that in relation to the way that that information and music is dispersed. So that is why Dr. McPhee was basically expressing his opinion. If he owned Radio Cayman, what he would do. So let's go to the law of unintended consequences. Right? Remember the property requirements. If we look at the progression of residency in the Cayman Islands, at one point in time, 4 years with the introduction of the 1972 Caymanian Protection Law. 4 years. In the Cayman Islands, you could have the courts declare that you were a resident in the Cayman Islands, and as a result of that, you became a belonger and you obtained Caymanian status, right? Then when it came to into the 1980s and 1990s, then we introduced this concept of permanent residence. And at one point in time, basically, it was the chief immigration officer and then the boards. Cayman was relatively undeveloped at that point in time, and property ownership formed part and parcel of the qualifications to acquire permanent residence. Many will argue that we have reached a point in time now where that really is not relevant. We don't need that because we have Cayman. We now putting property ownership out of the reach of Caymanians. So we hope and we trust that whatever recommendations that the committee that is been established and shared by Dr. Steve McPhee to look at the point system, that we will remove property ownership from that. I would also personally like to see the decoupling of the privilege to work in the Cayman Islands and the ability for a person to apply for or obtain permanent residence. There should be a separation between the two. You want to come and work in the Cayman Islands? Yes, you can. We will limit you to a certain period of time. After that period of time, you have to break your stay and you may be able to return again. This way you don't get that consecutive period of time like 15, 20 years. So we need to decouple those. Any residency in the Cayman Islands should be based on your ability to financially support yourself in the Cayman Islands without the ability to work. So decouple work permits and permanent residence. That's what needs to be done. Let's look at the other law of unintended consequences. And this goes back to, again, in the 90s, when we had a chairperson of the Work Permit Board. She and her board were required to say, if you're coming here on a work permit, that condition on that work permit, if you have dependent children who are school age, they must attend private school. That said chairperson of the board was put on a waiting list at a private school. We will immediately take corrective action to put us on the right course. One way to do that, we need to decouple the ability for a person to work in the Cayman Islands and their ability to permanently reside in the Cayman Islands. Permanent residence should be for those persons who can independently, financially maintain themselves in the Cayman Islands without working. If you come to work in the Cayman Islands, that is what you come here to do. And yes, we realize that you're going to take the money out because you have family to support overseas. You have done that before. We have done that in the Cayman Islands where we went overseas to work and to support our families here. We understand that. We get that. But your ability to work in the Cayman Islands will have absolutely nothing to do with your ability to permanently reside in the Cayman Islands unless you have some Caymanian connection, either a spouse, so you gain it through marriage or possibly some other way as well. And I leave you with this question. I was reading yesterday in one of the Bermudan newspapers that the governor of Bermuda has been relocated from Government House to private residence because of the water damage to Government House. We always talk about, we want to remain under the British and everything else. We know what the American Revolution was all about. How many of you folks realize and know that every overseas territory, and the only one that I need to look at is Gibraltar to confirm, because I'm not sure about that, we all pay for the governor's residence. What kind of free people are we if the persons who have control over us, and I use that lightly, I should say the persons who govern us, that we have to pay for their existence in our jurisdictions? What kind of free people can we call ourselves when we have to pay the presence of the colonizer? Now that one may get me off the radio station and off for the record for good, but I say it anyway. How many countries have to pay for their colonizers to be there? So Bermuda, you have to pay the cost now of their governor being put in a private residence. They have to repair the Government House and everything else, all at the cost of the people of Bermuda, who are not entirely free, who are not entirely have the right and exercise the right of self-determination. Folks, we here in the Cayman Islands, we are no different, and I hope that you all realize that as well. Folks, I want to remind you that the proceedings at our Parliament continue today. You can follow it on Radio Cayman 105.3 FM Breeze. As well, I think government TV also, you can follow it on there as well. Folks, I want to thank you. I want to thank all of those who participated, who called in, those who sent WhatsApp messages. I want to remind you that we are our brothers and our sisters keepers. There is always someone out there who's less fortunate than we are, and I ask you to extend a helping hand to them. If you can't do that, then I suggest you donate to a worthy charity, because we always want to consider those who need, not necessarily those who want. And I say to you, have a great day. Continue to support your radio station, Radio Cayman. Join Sterling Dwayne Banks at 12:15 for Talk Today. And as usual, we ask the good Lord to bless these three beautiful, wonderful Cayman Islands, which are partially, we have a little bit ownership of.
For the record, proudly brought to you by
Coca-Cola. Available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga Distributors. Accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola. Brand Source Home Gallery. Inspiring luxury. And JN Money.
From abroad to yard.
Fast, affordable, convenient. Doctors Hospital. Peace of mind is important when life happens. Doctors Hospital. Always there for you. Call